Today I'm starting a new acrylic painting. I haven't done one for a while, and I wanted to do it on this canvas because this is the same canvas that I've painted over probably 5 or 6 times now. So some of my first videos on this channel are ones where I'm painting over this one, and I really want this one to be a painting that I'm really proud of and that is really detailed. And I kind of like it because I did the priming on it and it gave it a really cool texture. So it'll be interesting to see how intricate I can make it while adding depth with the acrylic paint. I really want this one to have a lot of different sized doodles and aspects. Sometimes I have only 1 or 2 large ones, so I want to make sure that there's a balance throughout the painting of large doodles and small ones. And I'm going to do this in layers, so I'm going to kind of cover the whole canvas with paint, and then do more doodles either beside them or add depth, so some are kind of overlapping, and just kind of do layer after layer until I reach that point where it is intricate and detailed but not too busy. I really want to focus on adding depth. So with acrylic, the paint dries super fast compared to oil. So I wanted to do a second layer of these colors just to make sure that you can't see any of the canvas through it, but also it makes it so I can blend when I'm doing the shadows for the depth. And I find it's just a lot easier to do. I only recently really started trying to add depth and more 3D elements into my paintings, and I only tried it on with oil paints. So it'll be interesting to see how it translates with the acrylic, and I just have to make sure I'm doing it when the paint is still wet if I want to do the blending. There'll be times that I go through and just kind of use a few either white or black lines to give it texture and depth, but probably do that near the end of the painting. I want to have some that are blended in, but yeah, for now I'm just kind of going through and continuing to add more of these doodles and sections in the painting, and I'm making sure that every part has cool aspects. Sometimes I have one corner of the painting that's just kind of a few shapes or textures, but I want to make sure that I have that cool kind of doodle styled feeling throughout the whole painting with equally interesting aspects. So now I'm adding a few more doodles. I'm trying to do it where at the beginning and the end of every session that I paint, I do more doodles, whether they're small little details or large ones. I find this kind of helps keep it really intricate. And now I'm adding some yellow. It always looks kind of funny at the beginning of the painting, especially when I see it at the end, because the first few colors, it always looks like there's so much of them. But then when you add more and more, you can realize that you need way more of that first color. So it's kind of finding a balance throughout it just to make sure you don't do too much or too little of one. I really like using this yellow throughout the paintings. Didn't do it before. Sometimes I did paintings with yellow backgrounds and I didn't really like them, but I find if I add them in the right spots, it really helps certain details pop out. So I'm going through and doing that, then I'm adding some green. I wanted to keep it dark because I wanted it to contrast and go well with the yellow. So adding that. With the acrylic, I find I have to do a few different coats of it. So this green isn't a blended color, it's just as it is. So I don't need to do that right away, but for ones that I blend, I wanted to make sure I do that right away and I have the right amount, just so that it looks consistent throughout it. Like I mentioned before, I'm trying to do different parts with depth, and I have to make sure that the paint isn't dry yet. So I'm going through and doing that in a few sections. I'll probably have to go over and do it a few more times just to make sure the lines are crisp. But I just really want to make sure that some of these elements really stand out and have that 3D feel. I really want to make sure that there are enough little sections of detail so you can look at the painting for a long time and see different things. Sometimes with large paintings in the past, I've done it where I have a lot of doodles around, but they're all kind of the similar scale. So whether they're all large to medium sized or all small. With this painting, I really want to try doing some large ones where I don't do a ton of detail inside of it, and then some areas with a lot of detail and tiny little intricate details where it's almost like a painting within a small section of the painting. I think by having that difference of areas with not as much kind of intricacy and doodles within it, as well as the ones that have a lot, I think it'll kind of bring out the areas that have a lot more and make the painting a lot more interesting. I wanted to go ahead and add more colors right away. So I have the red and the purple. I'll probably go through and do different shades of every color that I have so far. So I'll have some that are a lot brighter or darker and try to do them an equal amount throughout the painting. But I'm probably gonna have double or triple the amount of colors that I have so far. I don't usually like just sticking to one or two or three. I like having a lot of different ones. So yeah, I'm gonna end this part right here. So thank you for watching, and I'll post the next part soon.